Welcome to U.S. Homeless Stories.
Vancouver is famous for ocean air, glass towers, and postcard-perfect streets. But just a few blocks from that beauty, another Vancouver exists. One where survival happens in full view, day after day. The 2025 homeless count reports 5,232 people experiencing homelessness across Metro Vancouver, including 2,715 in the city of Vancouver alone. In the Downtown Eastside, homelessness and drug toxicity collide in ways the city can't easily hide. People fighting exhaustion, untreated illness, and dependency in public spaces that were never meant for living. British Columbia's toxic drug crisis has taken more than 16,000 lives since 2016, turning sidewalks into sites of grief as well as survival. So here's the question Vancouver keeps stepping around. How can a city this wealthy live besides so much visible suffering and call it normal? Stay with us until the end as U.S. Homeless Stories uncovers the human reality behind Vancouver's image. And if you want more stories like this, stories most people walk past, please subscribe to U.S. Homeless Stories, hit like, and share this video so these lives don't disappear from the conversation. 1. The reality of homelessness, present every day. Vancouver wakes each day to a painful reality. 5,232 people experienced homelessness across Metro Vancouver on a single night in the 2025 point-in-time count, with 2,772 of them in the city of Vancouver alone, a 12% jump from the previous year. The unsheltered population grew even faster, rising 30% in 2 years to nearly 1,900 people sleeping outside without any shelter. Shelters are chronically full. Waitlists stretch for months or years, and many are turned away, leaving them with no safe place to go. The crisis has spread far beyond the Downtown Eastside. Tents appear along Hastings Street and in Oppenheimer Park, near English Bay in the West End, under bridges in Burnaby and Surrey, and in industrial zones of Richmond. Life in these encampments is harsh and relentless. People wake on damp ground inside small, leaking tents, sleeping bags soaked from rain. There are no private bathrooms. Public ones are often locked or distant. Showers are rare. Many go days without cleaning up. Food is whatever charity brings. Cold, repetitive, rarely enough. Nights bring constant noise, shallow sleep, and fear of losing belongings. Winter brings aching cold. Summer turns tents into ovens. Everything, clothes, documents, medications, can vanish in a moment. Despite it all, people still try to keep dignity, folding blankets, sweeping small spaces, and sharing what little they have. But the exhaustion, vulnerability, and loss of basic privacy wear them down every single day. Have you ever imagined carrying your entire life in a backpack with no guaranteed place to rest? On U.S. Homeless Stories, we share these truths to invite understanding, because seeing is the first step toward caring. If this touches you, please like and subscribe so we can keep telling stories that matter. 2. Streets becoming places for substance use. Vancouver's Downtown Eastside has one of the most visible open-air drug use scenes in the world. Along the 15-block stretch of East Hastings Street, hundreds face opioid challenges, mainly involving fentanyl, in public spaces every day on sidewalks, in alleys, and in small parks. This level of concentrated, open substance use stands out globally for its scale and visibility. Walk Hastings Street any afternoon, and the scene is stark. Discarded needles, foil wrappers, and plastic baggies litter the ground, alongside other medical waste like used syringes and packaging. The air carries a faint chemical odor. Signs of prolonged exposure are evident in the environment, with scattered debris accumulating in corners and along curbs. Rain makes it harsher, as puddles mix with the litter, and people huddle under tiny tarps or cardboard to stay dry, their soaked clothes adding to the challenges of the day. No privacy exists. Everything unfolds in plain view of passersby, cars, and residents heading to work or shops. For many, the street is the only option. Without housing, there's no private place to go. Withdrawal can be intensely painful, so managing symptoms in public becomes a way to survive the day. Dignity wears thin with constant exposure, yet small kindnesses continue. Sharing a lighter, offering water, a quiet check-in. What does it mean when a city's main street becomes both a place of survival and such raw suffering? On U.S. Homeless Stories, we share this to help us see the human reality clearly. If this troubles or moves you, please like and subscribe to stay with these important stories. Three, police and emergency workers facing waves of overdoses. Vancouver's police and paramedics deal with one of the heaviest overdose response loads in North America. Paramedics in British Columbia handle about 120 substance-related calls per day on average, with a large share concentrated in Vancouver, especially the Downtown Eastside. The Vancouver Police Department responds to tens of thousands of mental health and wellness checks each year, many linked directly to the opioid crisis on the streets. A typical call: sirens rush to someone collapsed on the sidewalk or slumped in a doorway, barely breathing. Paramedics administer naloxone, provide oxygen, and stabilize the person quickly. Officers arrive to help secure the area. They'll offer calm support and connect the individual to outreach if possible. Often, the same person is revived several times in a week, or even the same day, creating a painful cycle where lives are saved repeatedly. But the root issues of housing and addiction remain. These responders work under intense pressure, long shifts, emotionally heavy calls, and the constant knowledge that they're usually the only immediate help available. Programs like CAR 87, pairing officers with mental health nurses, aim for a more supportive response, focusing on de-escalation and service connections rather than just enforcement. For those they help, each revival is a fragile second chance, a few more breaths, a moment of awareness, someone looking them in the eye saying, "You're still here." Yet after the intervention, many return to the same cold pavement with no real place to recover. What strength does it take for first responders to keep showing up with care in the face of such endless need? On U.S. Homeless Stories, we recognize the quiet dedication of these teams who step into the hardest moments every day. If this reality moves you, please like and subscribe to stay with these human stories. 4. Harm reduction programs being implemented. In Vancouver, harm reduction programs form a critical response to the challenges faced by people experiencing homelessness and substance use, focusing on practical support that prioritizes safety and dignity. These efforts, led by provincial and federal health authorities, include supervised consumption sites and access to prescribed safer supply options, where government-regulated medications provide alternatives to the unregulated drug market. The province's prescribed safer supply policy, rolled out since 2020 and updated through 2026, allows prescribers to offer pharmaceutical-grade opioids like hydromorphone or fentanyl patches to those at high risk, though covered under pharmacare for eligible individuals. This approach aims to reduce reliance on toxic street supplies, with programs like the Safer Initiative in Vancouver Coastal Health delivering low-barrier access to these alternatives for hundreds annually, often in conjunction with Vancouver Coastal Health and the British Columbia Centre on Substance Use. At sites such as Insight on East Hastings Street, which has facilitated millions of visits since 2003, people receive clean supplies, on-site supervision, and connections to broader health services, though helping manage daily dependencies in a supportive environment without requiring abstinence. The real impact shows in the quiet struggles eased. Individuals who once faced constant uncertainty from contaminated drugs now have a pathway to more predictable use, reducing the physical toll of withdrawal or exposure while sleeping rough. In Metro Vancouver, where harm reduction resources reach thousands through mobile units and community sites, these programs distribute essential supplies weekly to hundreds in neighborhoods like the Downtown Eastside, allowing people to maintain basic health amid limited options. Yet the need remains immense. Many still navigate barriers like stigma or access points, enduring the exhaustion of life without a secure place to rest or recover. Government involvement in providing these regulated options reflects a commitment to treating substance use as a health matter, offering tools that help preserve life and open doors to further support. What does it mean for society when these programs become a bridge to stability for those already carrying so much hardship? On U.S. Homeless Stories, exploring these initiatives reveals how compassion and policy can touch lives directly. If this look at real efforts to support vulnerable people moves you, give it a like and subscribe to US Homeless Stories to follow more stories that highlight shared humanity. The witnessed consumption model, implemented for new clients in recent updates, ensures direct oversight while keeping access open, underscoring the ongoing push to meet people where they are. Through these steps, the daily grind of survival softens slightly for many, reminding us that small, structured supports can affirm worth and encourage gradual change in a world where anyone might need such understanding one day. Five, root causes of the homelessness crisis in Vancouver. Beneath the surface of Vancouver's gleaming skyline lies a web of root causes fueling the homelessness crisis, where economic pressures and personal setbacks converge to push ordinary people into unimaginable hardship. At its core, skyrocketing housing costs act as a relentless force. Average one-bedroom rents in the city centre now exceed $2,400 per month as of 2026, according to Statistics Canada reports, making stability a luxury for many. This isn't abstract. It's the story of families evicted from modest apartments in neighborhoods like Kitsilano, where eviction rates spiked 18% in 2025, leaving parents to shield their children from the chill of night while scrounging for shelter. The 2025 point-in-time homeless count in Greater Vancouver revealed a jaw-dropping 5,232 individuals experiencing homelessness, a 9% increase in just 2 years, with unsheltered numbers surging 30% to 1,893, as per the Luma Native Housing Society's data. Indigenous people, comprising only 2.5% of the population, represent 38% of the homeless, a disproportionate burden tied to historical traumas and systemic inequities that amplify the pain of displacement. These causes manifest in raw, everyday suffering. The exhaustion of job loss in a city where median incomes lag at $82,000 against poverty thresholds, forcing folks to choose between food and rent, and their bodies weakened by hunger and exposure. Imagine the quiet despair of someone with mental health challenges, affecting 58% of those unsheltered. Per the Homeless Hub's 2026 analyses, wandering rain-soaked streets, memories of lost homes haunting their steps. It's a reminder that life's fragility can strike anyone. A sudden illness or economic downturn could place us in their shoes, underscoring how interconnected our fates are. How might recognizing these shared vulnerabilities inspire us to advocate for change? On US Homeless Stories, exploring these origins helps us grasp the human toll, urging a collective reflection on building equitable systems. If these insights into the hidden drivers of hardship move you, hit like and subscribe to US Homeless Stories to stay connected with narratives that foster understanding. The crisis deepened post-COVID, with Metro Vancouver's homelessness more than doubling in 20 years, as Vancouver Sun reported in 2025, turning vibrant communities into zones of quiet desperation. Personal hurdles like family breakdowns compound this, leaving individuals to face winter nights alone, their belongings in tattered bags, hearts heavy with loss. Society's role emerges here, not in blame, but in acknowledging that addressing income inequality and affordable housing shortages is a shared duty, one that honors the resilience of those enduring. In these tales, we find a call to empathy, knowing that supporting prevention strengthens us all against unforeseen falls. Six, growing concerns from local residents. As the homelessness crisis touches more corners of Vancouver, local residents are sharing growing concerns that stem from a deep care for their neighborhoods and the well-being of everyone who calls this city home. In the bustling West End, where 48,000 people live, packed into every square kilometer, families and individuals notice how shared spaces, like the sandy stretches of English Bay Beach and the green parks covering 12 city blocks, now carry extra demands from temporary encampments. These changes mean more frequent cleanups and thoughtful conversations about how to keep places welcoming for all. A 2025 community survey across Metro Vancouver found that 65% of residents support new housing solutions. Yet many quietly worry about the impact on daily life, with homelessness ranking as a top concern for 35% of people in similar cities like Courtenay and Victoria. Even more striking, the provincial homelessness count released in early 2025 showed unsheltered numbers climbing 30% across the region, a rise that surprises many who walk the same streets every day. These concerns come from real, everyday moments. A parent pushing a stroller past a park bench that has become someone's resting spot. Or a senior feeling uneasy about walking home after dark because familiar corners look different now. It's the sight of someone curled up under a thin blanket on a rainy evening, trying to stay dry while the city moves around them. Then that stirs a mix of sympathy and uncertainty in neighbors' hearts. Residents aren't turning away. They're searching for ways to help while keeping their communities comfortable and safe for their own families. In suburbs like Richmond, home to more than 210,000 people, similar feelings arise when industrial areas host makeshift shelters, prompting gentle community meetings where everyone shares ideas on balance and kindness. The truth is, no one wants to see anyone suffer the exhaustion of carrying all their belongings in a backpack, sleeping in doorways, or facing cold nights without a warm meal and a soft place to rest. These quiet hardships touch residents deeply, but reminding them of the thin line that separates stability from struggle. Yet this shared unease also highlights something important. Any of us could face unexpected challenges, a lost job, rising rent, or family difficulty that might lead to the same vulnerability. Encouraging us to respond with understanding rather than distance. What small gesture of neighborly care could help ease tensions and build bridges in your own community? On U.S. Homeless Stories, listening to these local voices helps us see the full picture with open hearts. If this honest look at how everyday people feel about the crisis resonates with you, give it a like and subscribe to U.S. Homeless Stories to keep exploring stories that bring us closer together. In the end, these concerns reflect a collective desire for solutions that work for everyone. Residents supporting more shelters and services while knowing that simple acts of compassion, like a kind word or a donated meal, can make a real difference in someone's day. When neighbors come together with empathy, they create space for healing and hope, strengthening the whole community, one caring step at a time. 7. Immediate steps by city authorities. Vancouver's city authorities aren't standing still. They're taking real, immediate steps to ease the daily burdens faced by people experiencing homelessness, showing that compassion can take the form of concrete action when lives hang in the balance. At the center of these efforts is the Housing Vancouver 3-year action plan, 2024 to 2026, which commits $120 million to deliver 1,200 new supportive housing units over the coming years. Construction is already underway in East Vancouver's industrial districts, where 22 blocks of warehouses and workshops are being transformed into places where people can finally have a door to lock behind them at night. These aren't just buildings, and they're small promises of safety. Rooms with beds, shared kitchens, and on-site support workers who understand what it feels like to carry everything you own in a backpack for months on end. One of the most heartfelt short-term measures is the expansion of winter bridge shelters. In late 2025, the city opened additional capacity with 220 new beds across sites like the facility at 120 Powell Street, where 160 people find a warm meal, a dry place to sleep, and a listening ear on the coldest nights. For someone who has spent weeks shivering under a tarp in a park or alley, stepping into one of these shelters can feel like a moment of grace, the first real rest after endless nights of staying alert for safety. Provincial funding through the Belonging in BC. The framework added $633 million in 2025 for similar immediate responses, including rent assistance programs that help 5,500 families each year avoid eviction before it happens. In South Vancouver's diverse neighborhoods, outreach teams work door to door to connect people with these supports, often catching families right at the edge of falling into the streets. What makes these steps feel so human is the quiet care behind them. Case managers who remember someone's name, volunteers who hand out warm socks without asking questions, and policies designed to reduce the number of days someone has to spend unsheltered. The 2025 Unsheltered Homelessness Agreement between Canada and British Columbia specifically targets encampments with a compassionate, no-force relocation model, offering people a real alternative rather than simply clearing space. When someone accepts a spot in a bridge shelter or a temporary unit, it's often because, for the first time in a long while, they feel seen and valued as a person, rather than a problem to be moved. Any of us could one day need that same kindness, a medical emergency, a sudden job loss, or a rent increase that pushes us past our breaking point. Recognizing that fragility makes these city actions more than bureaucracy. They become a shared promise that no one should have to face hardship completely alone. How much hope can be restored when a government chooses to meet people with practical help instead of distance? On U.S. Homeless Stories, though witnessing these efforts reminds us that change starts with someone deciding to act with heart. If seeing real people stepping up to ease suffering touches you, give this a like and subscribe to U.S. Homeless Stories. We'll keep sharing stories that show what caring looks like in action. These immediate steps are far from perfect, but they are proof that when leaders listen to the quiet pleas of those sleeping rough, small shelters and rent checks can become lifelines that carry someone through the darkest nights toward brighter days. Eight. Conclusion. A call to action. As we come to the end of this quiet journey through Vancouver's streets and the lives unfolding there, what stays with me most is not the scale of the struggle, but the enduring human spirit that refuses to be extinguished, even in the hardest moments. Every person sleeping under a bridge, every individual carrying their belongings in a worn backpack, every face we pass without knowing their name, they are someone's child, someone's sibling, someone's friend who once had dreams just like ours. On U.S. Homeless Stories, we have tried to hold space for that truth. That behind every tent and every shadowed doorway is a heart still beating, still hoping, is still worthy of kindness. This is not the end of the story. It is an invitation. An invitation for each of us to do one small, gentle thing. Offer a smile that says, "I see you." Drop off a warm coat at a local shelter. Write a letter to a city councilor, asking for more supportive housing, or simply hold someone in our thoughts with genuine care. Change rarely arrives in grand gestures. It arrives in the accumulation of quiet, consistent acts of decency. When we choose compassion over indifference, we remind ourselves and the world that no one should have to walk through life completely alone. From the bottom of my heart, and I want to say a soft prayer for every person still finding their way through the rain and the cold tonight. May you feel a moment of warmth when you need it most. May kindness find you in unexpected places. May rest come gently, and may hope rise again with the morning light. You are not forgotten. You matter. And to you, dear friend, who has stayed with us until these final words, thank you. Thank you for opening your heart to these stories. Thank you for choosing to look instead of turning away. Thank you for letting these lives touch yours, even from so far away. Your attention, your empathy, yet your willingness to sit with uncomfortable truths, it all matters more than you might realize. You are part of the quiet strength that makes the world a little softer for someone else. May you carry that same gentleness toward yourself and the people around you. May your days be filled with warmth, good health, peaceful sleep, and moments that remind you how deeply connected we all are. Until the next story, take good care of your heart. This has been U.S. Homeless Stories. If anything here moved you, stirred you, or simply made you pause, please leave a like, share a thoughtful comment, and subscribe so we can keep meeting here, together, to listen, to learn, and to care a little more each time.